I'm the self-improvement guy, and today we're reacting to how to be miserable for the rest of your life. And maybe you're wondering what a self-improvement reaction is. Is it any different from normal reactions? Of course. Basically, I'm gonna see if what this guy says makes sense, and then I'm gonna add a lot of other things. So this is basically a hive mind of knowledge. But yeah, so it's probably gonna be pretty interesting. So I'm just not gonna sit here and stare into the screen, I'm actually gonna speak. And better it is, if you don't want me to react, then just let me know. And I'm gonna try to not be negative and like hate and stuff. But let's just go for it, I say.
Here's a quick tutorial on how to be miserable for the
And I basically think the things this guy is doing, it's basically when you don't know what to do, you think about what you're not supposed to do, and then you do the opposite of that. I think it's gonna be clear.
Here's a quick tutorial on how to be miserable for the rest of your life. Step 1. Wake up whenever you want to. Don't wake up at a reasonable hour, an hour that makes you feel good about yourself. Make sure you wake up when everyone has had a head start to the day. You really want to make sure you...
Yeah, so basically just do whatever. The opposite, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So it's gonna be interesting how I'm gonna react to it, because it's kind of reverse psychology in a way, I suppose.
Make sure you wake up when everyone has had a head start to the day. You really want to make sure you feel like you've missed any chance to start your day off on the right foot. And when you get out of bed, don't make your bed. And don't shower. Just wear whatever you wore yesterday and head downstairs. It's important that you start the day off with little to no self-respect, feeling as grimy as possible. Step 2.
Because yeah, one of the reasons I really like waking up early, or earlier than I need to, is because then I have some time before I need to go. And then I'm starting my day in a state that's calm instead of just pa pa pa. It was a while ago I just woke up and went straight to doing the other thing, but I just really like the calmness of the mornings. And I think it could be one of the reasons why I'm pretty calm in life, because I give myself like a good start where I'm not like stressing like a mother sucker. Because I think it's easier to be calm during the day if you come from a calm state than if you have to calm yourself down. Whatever.
With little to no self-respect, feeling as grimy as possible. Step 2. Make sure your house is always a complete disaster. Your house is filled with many rooms, each with a specific purpose. You want to make sure that it's extremely difficult to accomplish those purposes. The pigsty will also help subconsciously reinforce the idea that you're...
Yeah, a good way to sort new habits is to just make it as simple as possible. So if you want to start running, for example, in the morning, then you have your running clothes by your bed and your shoes by the door, so you don't really have to think. All you have to do is wake up, change, put on your shoes and leave. And another good tip I've found is when you're about to do something that you don't want to do. For example, if you're not feeling like going to the gym, then don't think about the whole thing. Just think about the first 5 minutes. What do you need to do the first 5 minutes? Well, probably you need to put on some gym clothes, maybe get a water bottle, take some shoes, go and on your bicycle, car, on the bus or whatever. That's like the first minutes. And then once those 5 minutes have passed, then usually your mental state's probably changed. It's almost like once you've done those first 5 minutes, then then it's much easier to complete the thing, and then you're gonna do the thing. Or maybe if you go to the gym and you're like, I don't feel like it, maybe I'll do one thing, and then once you've done one thing, then maybe like, I can do one more, and then maybe I'll do two, but maybe you get a feel for it, and then you do a bit more. So just starting and getting that movement rolling, or whatever you say, I've found to be pretty good. And sometimes, not a lot of the time, but sometimes maybe you stop after those 5 minutes and maybe think 5 more minutes, or just stop. I don't know. But if I say I'm gonna do things at this point in my life, then I do them. And sometimes I curse the heavens, because I realize once I've started and have a long way left that, why did I say I was gonna do this thing? But of course I finish it anyways. But then I'm like, oh yeah, next time I'm gonna be a bit more conservative when I say I'm gonna do things. But that's not always the case. But basically, I still do it because I want my promises to myself to actually mean something, and I want them to be legit. Because I think the most important person probably to keep your promises to might actually be yourself. Because it's the person you spend the most time with in life. So shouldn't they be the most important? And I also think it's a fundamental part in building a good relationship with anyone to keep promises. So how can you expect to build a good relationship with yourself if you don't follow your promises? And I probably wouldn't recommend to begin with a promise like, for example, working out 7 days a week if you've never really worked out, because that's probably not the best way to do it. Probably just start doing it one time and make sure to stick with that promise, and start with smaller promises, and then you build your way up. For example, maybe a better example is even make your bed in the morning. That's a good one. It's so simple, but you'll be able to use it as proof that you keep your promises to yourself. So it's pretty good.
Each with a specific purpose. You want to make sure that it's extremely difficult to accomplish those purposes. The pigsty will also help subconsciously reinforce.
And just so you know, I'm basically assuming that you understand that he's not telling you to actually do these things, but all like the other way around.
The idea that you're a disorganized. The pigsty will also help subconsciously reinforce the idea that you're a disorganized person whose life is not in order. This is an
It's pretty fun to watch videos like these though, I think.
extremely important belief to have when trying to remain miserable. Step 3. Procrastinate. When the thought dawns on you to do something productive, like clean your disgusting kitchen, just ignore that feeling. After all, you just woke up and you have so much time.
Here is also really, it's a really good place to apply the thing I said before about the first 5 minutes or the first thing. Because if you have a mountain of dishes you need to clean and you're lying there on your phone, you're probably gonna be like, I'll do it later. But if you're like, I'm gonna clean one, and then you go and clean one, and even if you just clean one, then that's way better than not doing it. And basically what we're doing is we're lowering the action threshold, which basically is how hard it is to start. And maybe you're like, I'll do a second one, I'll do a third, and maybe you won't do all of them this time, but you've made a decent amount of progress. And I think it's pretty nice to chop away at bigger tasks like small. So maybe you do like 3 dishes and then you're on your phone for a few minutes or whatever. And I guess it's not the most productive way to do it, but I think when you do it like that, it can still be enjoyable, which I think will make it easier next time. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to lead to you enjoying doing the dishes the next time, but if it's not a pain in the ass, then maybe you'll do it every day, and then you won't get that mountain of dishes you need to clean or wash or whatever. So yeah, a lot of the problems I think we have is because we don't do things over a period of time, and then it becomes this big task, and then we're like, "Oof," and then it becomes even bigger. So I think it's just better to start chopping. We don't have to do all of it at once, just do small, and make sure that it's becoming, that you're removing more than you're adding, because then it's obviously going to disappear. Maybe not the fastest, but maybe you increase the momentum after some time as well.
Disgusting kitchen, just ignore that feeling. After all, you just woke up and you have so much time later in the day to get that done. You want to get in the habit of delegating all your life's problems to the future version of yourself, who will probably have a lot more motivation and energy than you do right now. Step 4. Look busy. After you sit down to do some work, open up a Word document to help yourself feel like you're being productive. Give your document a nice title, and then
I also really like videos like this because when he's saying it like this, it's so good psychology, because usually if he would just say that, oh, you're wasting your time, then you probably might not even listen. But when he's saying it like this, then you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing that sometimes. But it doesn't feel bad when you're kind of admitting it. But maybe it's because it doesn't feel like it's a confrontation. But I'm like, yeah, I've done that sometimes. But yeah, it's so smart. It's so smart.
To help yourself feel like you're being productive, give your document a nice title, and then immediately open up Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter just to check if you missed anything. You see, it doesn't really matter what you do. As long as you're sitting on your desk and that Word document is open, it'll help trick your conscience into thinking you're doing work, but you won't be getting any further in life. Step 5. Wait for opportunities.
I don't know how much I'm doing that though, but I've definitely done it a few times. I think more of the thing I usually did in my past was when I was like studying or something, I used to watch Twitch at the same time, which basically kind of tanks my productivity. And sometimes I was pretty decent, but most of the time I wasn't that productive. So if I would have just spent like 2 hours studying and then chilled for the rest of the time, then I probably would have achieved as much. But if I would have done 2 hours studying and then not studied for the other time, then I would have felt bad because I wasn't studying, which isn't the most ideal way to see things, and it's probably best to tackle that and maybe open up a journal or something and just tackle that problem and ask, why do I believe it's like this? And then when you write, it becomes more clear, and then you can see this belief you have which isn't serving you, and it's probably not true, because this thing that I just said to you, obviously if you can do more during less time and then have a lot of free time, then that's better than doing like than kind of feeling bad because you're not as productive but still doing a few things but not really a lot of things. And yeah, I don't think I do that anymore. It's gonna be interesting because I think I'm gonna go to school this last half of the year, so it's gonna be interesting to see how I start studying. I'm probably gonna be more effective because I'm gonna wanna do YouTube videos and have as much time as possible doing these. But yeah, it will be interesting because I don't think I've thought about it that much that I used to do that. But that definitely wasn't the best way to do it. I mean, it works, but it's not the most effective way. And the only reason it really worked, I think, is because I had a lot of time to burn, because I didn't spend that much time with other people.
But you won't be getting any further in life. Step 5. Wait for opportunities. Never be proactive with finding new opportunities to grow your career or meet new people. Wait for all...
And when I'm saying true, I'm thinking the other way around. Just want to be clear.
All of that to come knocking on your door. After all, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You'll meet the girl of your dreams one day and things will kind of just work out. You'll probably also land your dream job if you just wait long enough. Anyways, the important thing is to not take action. Don't try to figure out the most effective way to get what you want. Just wait until things work out. Step 6. Be
Yeah, it's so true. The other way around, I mean. Yeah, it's so true. I don't really know what to say.
Default no. Just wait until things work out. Step 6. Be default no. When a friend asks you to go out for a drink, just say no. After all, you're super busy these days and have a lot of work to do. When your boss gives you the opportunity to lead a meeting at work, try to find an excuse to slink out of it. The key here is to give everyone the impression that they should just let you do your own thing. Be so good at saying no that people just stop asking you to do anything. Step 7.
I don't necessarily think you should always, if we turn it around, I don't necessarily think you should say yes all of the time. I mean, if these people are important to you, or you feel there is a worthwhile benefit, then yes, you should obviously say yes. And you should spend time with people that you like, obviously. But it also depends on what phase you're in, because let's say if you were to be in a phase where you really want to focus on becoming a better person and maybe take a bit of a break from a few things so you can really just focus and become better as fast as possible so you can get back into doing all of those other things, and then maybe meet new cool people that you weren't really able to be with before because they maybe didn't want to be with you because you didn't have the right vibe or whatever. So yeah, it depends.
Be suspicious that people just stop asking you to do anything. Step 7. Be suspicious of people. Never give people the benefit of the doubt. Believe that everyone basically just wants to take advantage of you. And because of this, you should be guarded and put up.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Weird is probably not the right word, but I've found, I think, that people are actually better in general than I thought. Most people are actually good, which I think is cool, or at least they have good intentions. And I don't think having good intentions and then doing something bad justifies having good intentions. That just means that you haven't put in enough effort, probably, for the most part, to not do bad things. But sometimes, of course, we try to do something good, but then it's bad. But if you have good intentions, but you're speaking bad about other people and spreading negative vibes, then of course that's not gonna pass, I think. But most people are actually like really good, which is pretty cool, because in today's world, especially on social media, I don't really get that vibe, because I think it's because things are pretty polarized and the negativity gets more clicks than the positivity, because we kind of get drawn to it. I mean, it's us that decides what gets watched, and then similar things get watched and produced, or similar things get produced later. But when you're in real life and you interact, you can kind of see that most people are actually pretty good. But it also makes sense, because if most people were bad, then our society probably wouldn't really work. Because I think, I might be wrong though, quite a few things are relying on goodwill and things. Yeah, I definitely think it's beneficial to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe not in all cases, but for example, if someone does something and you think that they did it because they didn't like you, then that's a perfect case where you should probably see. Just think about if there could be other possible scenarios, because odds are that they didn't do it because they didn't like you. They might have done it unconsciously, and it's oftentimes we're so absorbed into ourselves, and everyone else is so absorbed into themselves that they're probably not doing it because they don't like you. But maybe it can seem like that, but yeah.
Everyone basically
Hopefully that made sense or something.
just wants to take advantage of you. And because of this, you should be guarded and put up walls to protect yourself emotionally. Assume the smiles people give you are fake and that their motives are malevolent. Step 8. Never fix the things you dislike about yourself. They're walls to protect yourself emotionally. Assume the smiles people give you are fake and that their motives are malevolent. Step 8. Never fix the people that do anything. Step 7. Be suspicious of people. Never give people the benefit of the doubt. Believe that everyone basically just wants to take advantage of you. And because of this, you should be guarded and put up walls to protect yourself emotionally. Assume the smiles people give you are fake and that their motives are malevolent.
The thing that caught my attention was the put up walls emotionally. And I think with your closest friends, that's probably true that you shouldn't probably do it. At least not as much. I mean, you should probably have, should might be isn't the word, but I think the ideal thing would be to be like get a deep relationship with at least a few people in life. But I don't think you should open up yourself that much to everyone, because that feels like it's just asking for a disaster to happen. Because even though most people are pretty good, most people are negative. So it's probably not gonna have a positive impact on you. But when you find people that aren't negative, then you should probably ask, please have a big impact on my life or whatever. Because then your life's probably gonna be better.
Assume the smiles people give you are fake and that their motives are malevolent. Step 8. Never fix the things you dislike about yourself. Continue to engage in activities that make you feel subhuman and weak. Never prove to yourself that you can overcome obstacles or better yourself. Never attempt to transcend your vices or change your lifestyle for the better. Subscribe to the idea that people can't change, so you shouldn't try. Step 9. Focus on things you can.
Yeah, that was good advice. I love the approach.
Can't control. As often as possible, get pissed off at the traffic, the government, the pandemic. You really want to reinforce the idea that the world is messed up and there's nothing you can do about it. Focus on the shortcomings of others, the failings of your country, and the state of the economy. Maintain a constant external locus of control over all the events in your life.
True. The last thing you said there about you want to bring back the power to you, basically. But I also think a worthwhile thing to say here is talking about perspective. Because he's basically saying, or shining light upon the fact that we usually look around and on the internet, whatever, and just see all of the bad things and focus on all of the bad things. But instead we can decide to focus on the good things. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure why we're so drawn to the negative. But I'm trying to, I don't know if I've succeeded, but at least I'm trying to reprogram myself to be more drawn to the positive. Because I believe that would be more beneficial for me. So yeah.
Maintain a constant external locus of control over all the events in your life. This will really help you feel powerless. And if you're trying to be miserable, that's perfect. Step 10. Use fear as motivation. Make the fear of negative consequence your primary motivator for everything you do. Set up.
So basically running instead of going for something. Yeah, that can't be very ideal. I just thought about the impact it could have on a life, right, if you live like that. And again, it's about where you choose to put your attention, your focus. Because either you can choose to run from things, or you can choose to run toward things, I guess.
Fear of negative consequence your primary motivator for everything you do. Set up deadlines that frighten you and punish yourself for failing to meet them. Use white-knuckle tactics to force yourself into productivity, and remind yourself constantly that your entire life could fall apart if you don't keep your head above water. Step 11. Only do what is comfortable. Let your comfort zone be the authority on what you do and don't do. If it's not comfortable, don't do it. Avoid discomfort at all costs, and participate only in activities that are familiar and effortless. Don't concern yourself with gaining fresh perspectives or novel experiences.
It's true. Of course the opposite's right, but yeah, I think it's easy to get stuck in the bubble that we call our lives. And outside of it, there is so many things that could bring us joy, excitement, purpose, or whatever our metric we're chasing, or which metrics we're chasing are. I think that's very easy to forget when you're so consumed in the moment. And not in a good way, but in a bad way. But it's also, even if you get this thought, I don't believe it's enough. I think it's more something you have to experience, probably. So basically, trying something new that maybe someone you know has said it was very fun, and maybe they believe you think it would be fun. And even if it's scary or whatever, to do it, to try it. I think that could bring a lot of positive things, which is probably pretty cool.
Effortless. Don't concern yourself with gaining fresh perspectives or novel experiences. Stay in your lane. Operate in your wheelhouse. Step 12. Believe you're special. Behave like you're entitled to things on the basis that you're just...
When is a believe you're special? I was like, first I was like yes, and then I was like, wait, this is kind of a bit opposite. But I think you can believe you're special, not, to be entitled to things, but there's only one of you, which means that the gift, at least in this world, right, that we know of, which means that your gifts on this planet is something like the specific thing you can do that you can be best at is only something that you can do to that extent, probably. Which means that you have something special to give, which is pretty cool. And it might sound weird, but it's true because we're all different. All our genes are different and all of our experiences are different. So maybe you're pretty similar to someone else. Probably someone else on this planet, but still you're different, which is actually kind of a nice thought to have. I haven't really thought about it like this before. It's pretty cool.
12. Believe you're special. Behave like you're entitled to things on the basis that you're just different than everyone else. Assume that the people that have what you want in life just don't deserve it as much as you do. Always regard people
I love them.
that have what you want in life just don't deserve it as much as you do. Always regard yourself as talented, unique. Won't deserve it as much as you do. Always regard yourself as talented, unique, one of a kind. This will really help you develop an
I mean, if you believe you're talented, unique, one of a kind, in a way that pushes you towards doing more and creating better instead of just being lazy, then I think there's nothing wrong with it. Because if you're one of a kind, then if you don't push to become a better version of yourself and be able to give the gift you have to this world, then the world won't get that gift. But just because you're the only one that can give it doesn't mean you can just slack off, because if you slack off then you won't be able to give it. So then no one will get it, which probably would actually be pretty sad, because I at least believe there is a lot of very good potential in people and potential to do something really good. And I guess you can do good in different ways. Even if this thing is pretty small, then I still believe it's worth it. I like to think of life, and at least the meaning of it, as not just something that's connected to you, because then it can easily go down a dark path, I find. But if you're more connected to people around you and making their lives better, then even if nothing really matters at the end of the day, if you see them more happy, or like you can make their lives much better, then that will still like bring joy to you, because I think it's a fundamental part in us and it feels really good, and then I think it's gonna be worth to continue. So in a way it's selfish to help others because you get so much joy from it, which might sound weird, but I think it's actually true.
yourself as talented, unique, one of a kind. This will really help you develop an outsider complex, which will make it difficult to open up to other people or see things from their perspective. But since you don't want to do any of that uncomfortable stuff anyways, that's perfect. Step 13. See life not as it is, but how you wish it to be. Daydream of a day where things are better. Fantasize about a life where all your problems are gone. You want to make sure you mentally...
Wait. See life not as it is, but how you wish it to be. Maybe it's just me and my deep thoughts, but the way you see life, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it's subjective, because you see it in your own way and other people see it in their own way. But maybe that's because we add substance to it, and not see it objectively. But I'm wondering if he's telling us to see it objectively. But also, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a vision. I actually think it's good to sometimes see life how you want it to be, and not just, you know, daydream about it and not do anything about it, but see this life that you could live and then work towards getting that thing. That would probably be pretty cool. Yeah, I think so. Goals, I think, are pretty good when it comes to feeling better in life, because then you know what you should do.
See life not as it is, but how you wish it to be. Daydream of a day where things are better. Fantasize about a life where all your problems are gone. You want to make sure you mentally escape as much as possible.
I wouldn't say fantasizing about a place where all your problems are gone is bad, because of course, like, if you use it like I said before, because then you know exactly where you need to go, and then you can probably break things down and take things one thing at a time, and then if you do that, then you get to that place.
To distract you from the obstacles in front of you. You mentally escape as much as possible to distract you from the obstacles in front of you. Pour your mental energy not into fixing your problems or improving yourself, but into building up this fantasy to be as detailed as possible. Reflect daily about what you would buy if you won the lottery or became a celebrity. Constantly compare your life to this fiction and become resentful at the juxtaposition. So, if suffering is what you're after, and you crave the daily strife, then you're in luck. Because if you follow this advice, you'll be miserable for the rest of your life. This video was sponsored by Audible. The audiobook I'm currently...
Matthew, this book is pretty good. Weird Lights. I read it for a while ago. It was fun. I'm gonna get it I liked it. I think it was cool. And if you want me to react to any other YouTuber or any other video, then let me know. Probably best to keep it self-improvement related. I think that's gonna bring out the most value for you, at least. But of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a nice day, I suppose, and